Hello, dear Dhamma friends. Uh, Good evening and good morning. Uh, to USA, it is in the evening, but in my country, Sri Lanka, it is early in the morning. So until some Dhamma friends will gather, let's just wait for a while. Okay, now there are 8 Dhamma friends already connected. Okay, let's just begin the talk. Okay, again, Teruvan Sarnai to all Dhamma friends, and again, good evening to you. And I'm Bhante Pesala from Labnoro Kanda Forest Monastery. And it's a pleasure to meet you all and to deliver this Dhamma discussion. And uh, I will be really pleased to answer your question after this talk. So before in the beginning, we talk about the Sutta, and at the end, you can ask any questions. So before we begin the talk, let's pay our homage to the Samma Sambuddha all together. Let's just worship the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namassami. Okay, dear Dhamma friends, you all gathered here, and not only yourself, there are millions of followers and disciples, now eagerly trying to understand the Dhamma. If you take the global situation, we can see that there is a uh, inclination towards Buddhism because of the practicability and the reality of Buddhism. So, in simply, by learning Buddhism and by practicing Buddhism, what is happening? I simply elaborated that it is like this. Suppose there's a blind man, uh, and if the person is blind means he cannot work freely and he cannot go here and there freely because he had to face so many obstacles because of his blindness. So that particular for that blind one, if we try to show him the path, show him the ways, show him the colors, show him the objects, it is Dhamma friend, it is useless because he cannot, though we show him the clear path, but he cannot see. So the first and foremost thing we must do on behalf of him is that if we can give him the eyesight, so that is the best thing. Then if we give the eyesight to him, so then he himself can go through the path because he can see the path. So when it comes to the Dhamma, when you talk about right understanding or Sammaditthi, in Sammaditthi, that is what happening. Sammaditthi mean the blind one, once he get the eyesight, then he himself can identify the obstacles and the ways and paths, and he himself can identify and he himself can go through the path without being impact with the obstacle. So similar thing happens here for the followers, for the disciples, when we get the Sammaditi. So you may have heard that every one of us in the beginning in the path of Dhamma, we should have a teacher. We should have a proper teacher and proper Kalyanamitta's association. So we have that Kalyana Mitra association until to that point, until we get the Dhamma eyesight. When you get the Dhamma eyesight, as I said, you can see the reality of the world, and you can see the obstacle, and you can observe the right ways and wrong ways. Thereby you can clarify, you can verify which way I should adopt. So until that point, you need to have the association with the Dhamma friends. I'm not telling that even after that, if you have further association with Dhamma friends, it is better, because you can get the boost in your path. But if you get the right view with the association of Dhamma friends, then with that eyesight, you can clearly go through the path. So in Buddhism, it's a in Satya Jnana. Satya Jnana mean Satya Jnana mean it's a knowledge of the knowledge should be beginning. Suppose you are about to go through a path. So there are three main points on the path. That means at the first point, and in the middle point, and the last point. So when you are about to go to the journey and complete the journey, and when you are wishing to reach to the destination, first and foremost, you should know the past. You should know the path. So that is the knowledge of the path is known as the Satyajnana. That means you know that I have to cover this destination, and you have to reach the destination by going through this path. So that initial knowledge is known as the knowledge of the initial, or the Satyajnana. Then when you are progressing on the path, you know that now I am on the path. I am on a way. So to identify that, you should have that kind of knowledge. That is known as Krutya Jnana. That means you know about your task. And once you completed the journey, and once you reach to the end of the path, then you would know that I have completed the path, and I have reached the destination. So there you will get the knowledge. That knowledge is known as Krutajnana. That means I have completed my task. So that's why three kinds of knowledges are important. So as I said in the beginning, if you gain the right view in this Dhamma path, you will be known as Satyajnana person. That means the person who having the basic initial knowledge. That person is now he know what to do, and he know the destination. But when you compare with the person who hasn't got any knowledge about the Dhamma, it is like the blind one. Though you have the eyesight, still you are at the same place, which with compared to the blind one, with compared to those who not know anything, because though you know the path, you haven't kept any step towards the path. So now, as the eyesight person, then you have to practice now. You have to adopt what you have know. Now you have to practice. So then, when you after practicing only, you can reach to the destination. So similarly, so these three knowledges are very important in the Buddhist scriptures and Buddhist teachings. So when you get the right view, when you get the Satyajnana, it is known as you are an stream enterer, some Sotapanna one. Sotapanna mean not just it's a miraculous thing. Sota mean the stream of the path, stream of the Dhamma. Apanna mean you have arrived to the path, because you know that to get myself released from all this pain, suffering, and unsatisfactory natures, I have to go through path. I have nothing else. I have to practice Dhamma is the only option you are getting. So that's the nature of the Sotapanna one, because he has seen the nature of the world as suffering. That suffering arises due to the attachment, and when I completely eradicate my attachment towards worldly things and everything, every bond or every bondages, then I will get the cessation of the suffering. And for that, I need to practice this path. So that is the nature of the Sotapanna one. So until you reach that state, you have so many doubts, how, whether whether Buddhism is true, whether we can gain anything out of Buddhism. Likewise, there are so many doubts will arise. So today, the sutta that we are going to talk will elaborate you how to gain that eyesight very beautifully, and it gives you the complete structure of Buddhism in a simple way, with a good simile. By showing a beautiful simile, our great teacher Sammasambuddha explained about Buddhism. So here in this sutta, Buddha, the background of the sutta, the reason behind to preach this sutta, you may have heard about the Buddha's foremost enemy. Actually, Buddha didn't have any kind of enemy, but from the Buddha is a completely uh, Mahākaruna. I mean, higher level of compassion towards any being, even the enemies, even to the enemies, he has the same set of his mindset. He's having the same kind of compassion towards each and every sentient being. So, but this Devadatta, without understanding the qualities of our Samma Sambuddha, he had done so many rivalries against the Buddha. So he went off. He just left the Buddha with some kind with 500 disciples. He has done the schism of the sangha, and he just parted away from Buddhism. At that time, Buddha just addressed the monks and said, uh, this Devadatta always following the gains and fames and honors of the people. So until by being with me, people didn't care about him. So he was just to find that happiness, and he was also want to become a person like the Buddha. That's why he left. And with regard to that incident, our great teacher, began this sutta to explain to the disciples. So Buddha said, our great teacher further explained that by giving a simile of a huge tree and the heartwood of the tree. Heartwood means the core of the tree. Buddha said, suppose there is a person who needs to have the core or the heartwood of the tree, and by having that purpose in his mind, he just he just move into the jungle or forest, and he will find a huge tree, and standing right in front of the tree, he carefully observe the tree, and he climb up the tree, and he cut off all the twigs, leaves and branches of the tree, and by collecting all of them, he just leave the place without touching even the trunk of the tree, core of the tree, sapwood, softwood, hardwood, anything. Without touching anything, he just taken away the leaves and branches. So in that case, there's a particular good eyesight, wise person standing nearby, and by observing the person's activity, that the wise one thinking that this particular person uh, came inside to the forest to have the core of the tree. He just reached to the tree, but without touching even the sapwood, bark, softwood or core of the tree. He just satisfied with the twigs and leaves, branches and leaves. This person thinks that indeed, in fact, this particular person know nothing about tree. He know nothing about the leaves and branches, bark, sapwood, softwood, hardwood. He know nothing about this tree. That's why he just satisfied with the branches and leaves. So wise man just made the conclusion in that way. So then again, the second type of person comes. He also reached to the tree. He just climbed the tree, and he also just cutting off the branches and leaves, and he collect the outer bark of the tree, and he just leave the place. So the wise man, in the same way of the beginning, he also again thinking about the second person. This person also, entered to the forest to have the core of the tree, but he just satisfied with the bark. So this particular person also know nothing about tree. He know nothing about leaves, branches, outer bark, inner bark. He know nothing about the tree. He made the conclusion about the second person. And similarly, there's another person, third person also came inside the forest and go in front of the tree, and he cut off the branches and leaves, and also remove the skin, and he just satisfied with the inner bark of the tree, and he just leave the place. And the wise person again thinks that this person also, though he entered the forest by the purpose of having the core of the tree, heartwood of the tree, he has cut off the you know uh, leaves and branches and cut off the outer bark, cut off the and satisfied only with the inner bark. This person also know nothing about the tree. So the again the fourth person enter into the forest, and he also reached to the tree, and he also cutting off the branches and leaves, outer barks as well as inner barks, and he just grabbed the grasped the sap wood, or the soft wood of the tree without touching the core, and he also just leave the place. And the wise man again thinks of him. This person is also the same. Though he entered the monastery, entered the forest, and he came nearby to the huge tree, and he cut off the branches and leaves, and he cut off the outer bark as well as he cut off the inner bark, but he is still satisfied only with the soft wood or the sap wood of the tree. Then the wise person came to the conclusion that this particular person also know nothing about the tree. He know nothing about branches and leaves. He know nothing about outer bark. He know nothing about inner bark. He know nothing about the sapwood of the tree. He know nothing about the core of the tree. So then he made that conclusion in that way. So then again he observed the fifth one entering to the forest and reaching to uh, the tree, and he cut off the leaves and branches, and after that he cut off the outer bark of the tree, and after that he cut off the inner bark of the tree. After that he carefully removes the sapwood or the soft part of the soft wood of the tree, and he carefully grasp or the grip the uh, hardwood of the tree, and he just leave the place. So then the wise man thinks, this one indeed wise. He know everything about the tree, and he know everything about the leaves and branches. He know everything about the outer bark and inner bark, sapwood as well as core. And if one person is having any kind of benefits, any kind of needs out of the core, out of the hardwood of the tree, definitely indeed this person would get that benefit. Whatever the benefits he desire, he will get out of this sapwood. So, Buddha bringing that simile, the Buddha said, dear bhikkhus, and here Buddha addressed bhikkhus, but some can ask that, all the suttas, Buddha addressed only the bhikkhus. And in that case, someone asked Bhante, because I am saying this because someone already asked from me this, uh, Bhante, this can be applied only to the monks. Why? Because Buddha addressed the monks, but in the sutta, Buddha not addressing the lay persons, laity. But actually, it is not the case. Since the if our great teacher conducting a sermon, the first part is covered by the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, and the latter, the rare part, is covered by the upasaka and upasika, the ladies. So since his address of bhikkhus means everything, every four groups, bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, upasaka and upasika, both the monastics and both ladies. This dhamma is for every human being. Why I'm saying that? Suppose the rate of aging and the sicknesses and the death can apply to all the four groups. Maybe as a monastic, I may get the death before you. Sometimes you may get the death, you may get the sickness, you may get the the last part of your life before me. So it doesn't matter whether you are a monk or a lady. These teachings will equally applicable to each and every sentient being. The problem is that the problem is lies with the wisdom or the knowledge of the person and their expectations and their desires. So the Buddha said, by just bringing that simile after that, Buddha said, in this Buddha's dispensation, also there are some disciples, both monastic and ladies, entering to the sasana, entering to the Buddha's Dhamma, by expecting the results out of the Dhamma. And even some are there entering to the community of Sangha as monks. And after entering to the community as monks, they will begin to get so many materialistic gains, fame, honor, wealth, and everything. So once he gets that materialistic wealth and gains and honor and praise from the people and from the devotees, he begin to think that now I am really worthy one. That's why people offering so many things, but others they are not getting much like me. So I am a great one. So because of thinking in that way, his mind is intoxicated with pride and other defilements, and he not further satisfied with the results of the dhamma, with the practices of the dhamma. He just satisfied only with that. So Buddha compared that person to that of the first person I said about the tree, the person who satisfied only with the branches and leaves. The Buddha compared this person to him. Though he entered to the sasana, he know nothing about this Buddhism. He know nothing about real gain and praises of Buddhism, as well as the sila of Buddhism, as well as the samadhi, as well as the wisdom, as well as the liberation of Buddhism. He know nothing about the Buddhism. So this is the first person. And if you carefully observe in the community of Sangha, even within us, even within our monastery, our community of Sangha, we can identify these kind of disciples. Though they have entered to the sasana, they have really satisfied only with the gains and fames and honor, and thereby they are not trying to do anything else, anything further. So this is the first person's characteristic. And again, there is another person entered to the Buddha sasana as a monk, and he also receiving so many fames and honors and wealth and so many offerings by the devotees, but he's not indulged and he's not satisfied with those things, and he further he not just criticizing or just neglecting others. He focuses further on the path and he practice morality or the sila. And uh, when he practice morality sila, then he gets the kind of satisfaction that I am truly having the sila. But others, those who are with me, they don't follow sila. They don't have much ethical conduct. Oh, I am good, they are not good. By just criticizing that, then again his mind is intoxicated with sila. So the Buddha compared this second person as the person of the simile, that I have given. The second type of person, he entered to the forest by expecting the heartwood of the tree, but he just satisfied the outer bark of the tree. As the wise man thought, this particular person know nothing about the tree. Similarly, Buddha said, the second one who just satisfied with the sila, he know nothing about this Buddha's doctrine. He know nothing about sila, samadhi, and prajna or anything. So then again, the third person is comes, and he also entered to the sasana as a monk, and he also gets lots of fames and honor, wealth, respect from the devotees. Yeah, no, he's not just indulged in those things, and he's not just satisfied. Further, he practices sila, and he created a good ethical conduct within him, and thereby he gets the samadhi. This third person is get the samadhi, and when you get the samadhi, actually he gets the real happiness of the dhamma. And Buddha said, uh, if you get this samadhi, jhana, fourth jhana, and up to the eight jhanas, and Buddha known as they are having the ditta dhamma sukha virana, mean they are the one who really experience the blissfulness of the sasana in some occasions. But Buddha said that persons who having the right view only can gain those jhana. So if you take out of Buddhism, away from Buddhism, they have the people. There are people that they have gained the eight jhana, but still they are not considered as a jhanic people in Buddhism. That is because the jhanas they have gained through without Buddhism, definitely they will be diminished once once they lose their practices. They will be they will be fallen back into the same where we were where they were earlier because of not knowing the right view. But in Buddhism, it talks about the samma samadhi. Samma samadhi means right, uh, unified mind, right concentration. Most people translate, but the best word is for this samadhi. We cannot find a suitable word. Samadhi means it's a unified mind, concentration. You can say so many meanings of that. So, but in Buddhism, samadhi, once you get to the samadhi, you will not be fallen back because that right samadhi is patronized or sponsored by the right view because he know how to further develop into the wisdom. So, anyway, this particular group of monks, they only satisfied the samadhi, and Buddha compared him with that the third person who came to the forest by expecting to have the heartwood of the tree, but he only satisfied with the inner bark of the tree. So similarly, this person also know nothing about Buddhism, though he has the higher level of samadhi. Maybe he could develop the samadhi up to the maximum, but still Buddha said this person know nothing about this Buddhism. He know nothing about the real wealth, real gain, real honor of Buddhism. He know nothing about the sila, nothing. He know nothing about the samadhi. He know nothing about the prajna, wisdom. He know nothing about the doctrine. As the wise man, made the conclusion about the persons, the Buddha made the conclusion about this particular person. And beyond that, there's another one who entered the sasana as a monk, and he gains the honor, wealth, and things. And he not just satisfied with them, and he further practices sila. And by practicing sila, he not just satisfied, and further he gets samadhi. And with that samadhi, he is not just satisfied. Further, he practices samadhi, and he get that is called jnana dassana. Jnana means knowledge, dassana means vision, knowledge and vision. And with that knowledge and vision, he can perform even with that is kind of a psychic power. He can perform miraculous things. The first one is known as Kubbe Nivasanusati Jnani. That means he can observe, he can see the past existences with that Jnana Darsana, with that knowledge and vision. And he can see the things which is far away from him. Clairvoyance. One can see the things which far away, that is known as clairvoyance. And he can hear the noises of which is far away things, that is known as clairaudience. And he can have the mind reading capacity, and he can perform miraculous things physically, as well as he can perform magic in the mind. That means if he thinks anything, he can just create in the ground. If he thinks about elephant, he can create an elephant with the psychic, with his powerful mind, powerful samadhi. And finally, those are the things, the person who's having knowledge and vision, those are the things. one can perform. You know, uh, before Buddhism, these kind of knowledge, even the the ascetics, the people who practice other religions, they had done meditation, and they have developed their samadhi up to these kind of supernormal capabilities. And in Buddhism, those are not considered as the miracles. Those are just uh, capacities. The Buddha compared this person to that of the fourth person, the one who expecting to get the core of the tree, heart wood of the tree. By expecting that, he entered to the forest, and he stand in front of the huge tree, and he cut off the leaves and branches of the tree. He cut off the outer bark, he cut off the inner bark. He only satisfied with the sap wood or the soft wood of the tree. As the wise person made the conclusion about this person, though he satisfied just with the sapwood of the tree, this person also know nothing about, though he reached to the core by just removing the sapwood, this person also know nothing about the tree. Similarly, Buddha said this particular disciple have gained so many knowledges and wisdom, but still he know nothing about this Buddhism. He know nothing about the real wealth and gains of Buddhism, Sila, Samadhi, and Prajna, Jnana Darshan. He know nothing about the Buddhism. Just imagine the uh, the situation. I mean, this is very important thing. Like everyone in Buddhism nowadays, people are talking about meditation, only the meditation. Recently, some friends, Dhamma friends, came to our monastery, and Sri Lankan people, they also come. Always they asking about the meditation. They always asking bhavana. But it is like the person. It is like the simile that I have given you. Suppose you are a blind one, you are asking me the path, how to go. The first thing is you should know. You should not ask the path. You first thing you ask the eyesight. Then our duty is to provide you the eyesight. When you get the eyesight, you can see the right and wrong path. You can identify. You can verify the real path and the bad path. So so that is the case in Buddhism. Not meditation is happened even before the Buddhism, but in Buddhism meditation comes to the second part. Before that, you should know you should have the right view. As I said, the simile, you should have the eyesight. Then with that eyesight you can see the world. Then you can observe, I am in the obstacles, now I have to get rid of these obstacles. Then if I want to get rid of these obstacles, I need to perform these paths. Then once you in the path, you know that I am now progressing towards the end of the path. And once you reach to the destination, there also you will begin to know that I have reached the destination because of your right, because of your clear eyesight. Similar thing happens when you get the samadhi in Buddhism. You know what to do in the beginning, you know what to do in the middle, as well as you know what to do in the middle end of the sermon. Why I'm just really focusing these points, because Dhamma friends, recently one uh, disciple talked with me and asked from me some guidance, and he has done meditation for about, I think, 10 or 12 years. He's a true practitioner in the surface look. And he said now he's having the samadhi, but he cannot sleep because he feels now uh, he is controlled by someone else. He said to me, his previous teacher, he's not good. Now he is not letting me to live because he always feels someone is externally, someone from externally controls him, and he cannot sleep even. That is because he's wrong understanding the Dhamma friend. Because without right view, if you perform the samadhi, if you perform the samadhi, if you do the bhavana, that's what happening. When you get the jhanic levels, when you get the higher level of samadhi, if you think on anything, that will you can create that thing. Suppose in childhood we talk about uh, to our parents, child our parents just taught us about the uh, just inculcate the fear upon us about the darkness. They talk about, dear son, you have to eat, you have to drink water in the correct time, otherwise in the dark there will be devils come to you, and they will be just taken away. By fearing to the dark, by fearing to the devils, we begin to eat. In that way, mothers just embedded those wrong views into our mind. Suppose a person who practices jhana, and he get the samadhi, and he just remind about the devils. Definitely, he could see devils. At that time, he cannot verify whether it is a creation by the mind. He cannot verify. He actually sees the devils. So at that time, he get feared, and he don't know how to manage that samadhi. That's the danger part of the practices without right knowledge, right way. So that's why Buddha compared these persons into useless person. Though they have samadhi, they know nothing about this Buddhism. And the finally the Buddha said, wise person enter to the sasana by understanding the true nature of the world, and he gained the lots of wealth, praises, honors from the devotees. He is not indulged with those fames and things. Further, he practices sila. He is not going to criticize others. He practices samadhi. He gets the samadhi, as well as he gets the jnana darshan. He gets these capabilities, psychic powers. He's not just satisfied. And finally, he gets, that is called akopya cheto mukti. That is mean, akopya mean unshakable liberation. Unshakable liberation. Once he reached to the unshakable liberation, and then he knows that I have completed my task. I have nothing to be worried. Now he know I have no suffering now within me. So that is the ultimate aim. For in here, Buddha focusing by just telling about the persons who have gained the magapalas. The Sotapanna one, he knows, now I have eradicated the bondages from the hells. I have renunciated. I have relinquished from the hells. I have no reason to reborn again in the hells. And the Sotapanna, Sakadagami, and also the Anagami, also the enlightened one. They know everything, because now we have completed. That is called the Akopichetomiti, mean unshakable liberation. And so that is the purpose of the Buddhism. So when Buddha sees this kind of persons, then Buddha made the conclusion, this is the one, this is the only one. He know everything about the real praises and gains of Buddhism, as well as he knows everything about the sila. He know everything about the samadhi. He knows everything about the knowledges and visions, jnana darsana, as well as finally he know what is real unshakable liberation. He know everything about Buddhism. So just imagine the person. You may see that persons may be doing so many bhavana, but if he doesn't know the core of Buddhism, actually he know nothing about the Buddhism. To further make you understand, I will give you an simile. Like, suppose you are going to find a diamond which is hidden inside the earth, so deep, and you begin to just uh, duck dig the earth to find that gem or a diamond. Suppose there are persons who do nothing about the gem. They also uh, don't possess the gem or the diamond. And person who dig little deeper, he also doesn't possess the diamond. And person who dig deeper than that, he also doesn't possess the diamond. And one special person is that he dig hardly and reaches closer to the diamond, and he can touch the diamond, but didn't grasp the diamond. That person also, whether he has tried hard, he also doesn't possess the diamond. The one who I after heartful and heartful workings, heartful diggings, once he reached the diamond, and he had carefully take back the diamond and carefully utilize, he go to the shop and converted them into money, and he used that money and get the benefits out of the wealth which is gained through the gem, he is the one, he's the only one who gained the benefit out of the gem. Similarly, the other person, they have tried hard, but they didn't possess the gem. Similarly, the Dhamma, without the right knowledge, you may tried hard in Buddhism, you may get samadhi, but still you don't know how to manage that samadhi. So that's why in the beginning also I said, uh, to gain the right view, sammaditthi, it means getting normally as normal human beings, normal sentient beings. Buddha said, all are putujjanas. Putujjana mean, putu mean immensely. Jana mean, we are putuhi jananti, putuhi kilese jananti, putujjana. That means we are creating immense of defilement. Since we are known as putujjana. So person who know nothing about Dhamma, they have they have this kind of person. They are similar to this kind of person. They are doing so many defilements. They are like the blind one. Now we can have the physical eyesight, but we are blinded with avidya, I mean ignorance. So since that we don't know the path, we cannot see the path. And when you get the right view, you get the vidya, I mean you are get the eyesight. Then you can clearly observe the world. And when you are suppose with the right view, you stay without any samadhi. You are in the as a normal person, but still you know how to verify the good and bad. And with the right view, you get to the samadhi, you get to the jhanic level. Still you know how to manage that jhanic levels. And if you go maximum samadhi, still you know how to convert, how to balance the samatha and vipassana when you get that right view. That is why the importance of right view. And simply the right view is that it talks about four noble truths. In Buddhism, each and everything that we practice clearly focus the four noble truths. Simply I can say it is dukkha, and dukkha arises the attachment. When you have no attachment, there is no dukkha as the third noble truth, and to that you have to practice noble eightfold path. I can elaborate that, but it is just the surface. And it is like the simile our teachers always giving. When you observe the huge ice burden, ice cube on the sea, ice not the cube, ice mountain, if you in the sea, from the surface you could observe only the little part of the iceberg. It's like the 5%, at least 5% you cannot, you can only observe the 5% of the whole iceberg. Rest 95 you cannot observe. If you want to observe, you need to dive into the sea. Then only you could observe the whole iceberg. Similarly, the four noble truths also the same. I see. Just we from the surface we can say it is suffering. As I said, you can just we can say in that way. But if you want to know, you have to deep dive into the Dhamma. Then you will begin to see the the four noble truth. To further explain that, like in the first truth, it said the in the four truths having different tasks, not same task to the four truths. In the first truth, that is to it said dukkha satyam parinyaya. That means now most people are they know some life is suffering, and they try to eradicate suffering, but that cannot be done. In Buddhism it says dukkha satyam parinyaya, mean the first noble truth has to, there's nothing to eradicate in the first noble truth. It has to be realized. You should, that is called parinyaya. It has to be realized. When you realize with your insight or the wisdom first noble truth, then the second noble truth, it's called samudaya satyam pahatabba. That means the causes has to be not forcefully, you have to eradicate. When you understand the first noble truth, automatically second the attachment will fade away. And the third noble truth, uh, dukkha nirodha satchikatabba, the cessation of the sufferings, cessation of the dukkha has to be achieved. It is something to be achieved. How could you achieve? It is already there. The cessation of suffering, the everything, every uh, conditionals, everything which is appear in the world has the nature of appearing and disappearing. whether you know or not, whether you like or not. The appearing and disappearing is going on. And when you understand the disappearing nature, that is called cessation. That cessation, you don't need to provide, you don't need to produce, you don't need to create. It is already the happening. You have to just achieve that truth. That is known as Satchigadamba. And finally, when you understand that, when you uh, from the as the initial step, when you understand this, the cessation or the nirodha satya, then that is the time you will get the path. At the simile that I have given, the person, the blind one, and he cannot see the, environment, but once he get the eyesight, he know what are the obstacles, what are the right path, what are the bad, wrong ways. He can clearly verify. Similarly, when you understand these four noble truths, then you know what to do and how to practice sila, why I practice sila, why I should give dana, why I am worship Buddha, why I worship the Dhamma Sangha, why I practice sila. He know how to manage that sila. He know how to manage that samadhi. He know everything as the person who sees, who has the eyesight. So that is the simply, I mean, elaboration about the Four Noble Truth. So by focusing that Four Noble Truth, Buddhist do dana, do see, practice sila, practice samadhi, because he know how to manage all the basic infrastructures. He know how to manage in order to gain the knowledge, gain the liberation by understanding the Four Noble Truth in that way. So with that, time also passing rapidly. So I am now coming to the end of the sermon, and if you have any questions, I can answer them. So I think few questions received so far. Thiruvan Sarnai, Bhante, is the Heartwood here referred to the true meaning of Dhamma or the knowledge about the reality of existence? The seeker of Dhamma should not get carried away by the decorations of the worldly privileges associated with the sasana. Yeah, the Heartwood here means the true teachings of the Dhamma. That means Heartwood. Uh, suppose I need to uh, get the medicine out of the uh, hardwood of a tree. Then if I satisfied with the trees, and if I satisfied with the bark of the tree, if I satisfied with the leaves and branches and bark wood, outer bark, inner bark, sapwood, I cannot produce the medicine. But first in hand, if I get the hardwood of the tree, still I have not produced the medicine. Then I have to do something now. Now I am possessed with the hardwood. Now also I have to do something to convert that hardwood into the medicine. Similarly, the hardwood is the real teaching of the Dhamma, real knowledge of the Dhamma. But still I am in the beginning. I have to do some practices. When you understand the core of the Dhamma, then I have to, with that core of the Dhamma, with that insight, I have to convert that knowledge into the complete liberation. That's why the Buddha said unshakable liberation. So I think in that way, still you cannot satisfied while you know the Dhamma. You cannot still satisfied until you get the unshakable liberation. You are not, get the hardwood free, but you have not managed that well. So hope I answered the question, and if it is not clear, then you can ask again. Mm, is this all about right view of practice and attainment of different levels of right efforts, Bhante? Actually, when someone is asking about right view, the in Buddhism, The samadhi means the knowledge of the Four Noble Truths. Simply that is the one. But in some suttas, suppose if one is in the if one doesn't have true wisdom, true insight, then he cannot be directly taught with the right view. I mean, directly taught with the Four Noble Truths, and thereby, normally the Buddha's discourses are, very. He conducted in sequential ways. At first, he talk about dana kata. That means he praises about the giving, and he praises about the sila kata. He praises about the sila kata. I mean, he praises about the morality and in the second part. In the third part, he praises about Saggakata, being born in the celestial realms, being born as Deva. He just glorified him. That is called Saggakata. And fourth one, as the first step, he says Kamanang Adinamam, mean the the setbacks of the attachment. Kamanang Adinamam mean setbacks or the bad results or negative results of at getting attachment, because of the attachment we have to suffer. There are so many suttas. And Okaram Sankilesikam. Okaram mean the negative part of the bondages. Suppose uh, if if someone is attached to a particular person with love and any kind of attachment, when suppose the one who attached, if something happened to that attached person, he has to immensely suffer. That is because of the defilements which stuck in his mind. So ultimately, Okara and Sankilesikam, then Buddha come to the Four Noble Truths. And at the latter part, Buddha focusing about the Four Noble Truths. So in that way, I mean, the right view is always focusing about the Four Noble Truths, but it depends on the persons. Like person doesn't know much, doesn't have much insight, much wisdom. They cannot clearly, directly touch the Four Noble Truth, but still they also have the kind of right view. In if you take the Mahāsāropama Sutta, I have also explained that in the beginning, as the right view, we must possess, as good human qualities. Like as I said, we should we should know about the karma and its effects, and we should know about our parents. We should know about this world and other worlds. There are the worlds that exist beyond this world, and if we live unwholesomely, then unwholesome consequences will have to face us. Then if we live wholesome ways, then the wholesome results will come to us. In that way, that is also kind of right view. But ultimately, that suppose the one who is having the right view, and mm, suppose the Sotapan one, still he respect the he still he believes the karma. Still he believes the the rebirth and effect of the karma. He care about the parents. He care about the dana. Likewise, uh, in the beginning up to the end, the same right view, but in different levels. People has to understand. Hope I answered the question. uh, Eightfold Path is the part of Four Noble Truths. It's a very good question. So it's an amazing thing in Buddhism. Like if you talk about Four Noble Truths, we have to talk about the Noble Eightfold Path. And again, if you talk about Noble Eightfold Path, then again we have to talk about Four Noble Truths, because some again the right view means a knowledge of the Four Noble Truths. Again, the first step in uh, the magga, or the path, the first step, again you get the uh, right view as the Four Noble Truths. So it has the connection. We cannot just separate Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. We cannot separate. That is connection. That has the connection. We cannot separate. So that is a good question, and that's why everything is focused on the Four Noble Truths. Even the Magga, That's why I said in the wise Buddhist with wisdom, suppose they practice dana. Suppose they practice dana, and I have heard that some scholars said that there is no connection by just giving dana. You cannot. There are no connection with the noble eightfold path, because in the noble eightfold path there is no any mention about dana. By merely just observing the surface, one can claim that declaration, but the actual part is not that. When you consider second noble truth, it is known as right concept or samma sankappa. Under that right concept, you get the avyapada, avihimsa, and nekkhamma. Avyapada mean non-hatred, avihimsa mean kindness, and nekkhamma mean renunciation or this emancipation. So when you practice dana, you practice the right concept because you are practicing renunciation. Uh, if you cannot physically detach from your physical materialistic gain, how can you detaching from your mental or the spiritual attachments? So that's why even the wise one, the person who knows samadhi, he even gives dana while practicing the noble eightfold path. That is the benefit of the right view. So so far we have got only those questions, and with that we have come to the end of the sasana, end of the sermon, and I would like to uh, elaborate, and I would like to give you an small conclusion that uh, in that case, I am not telling that you should not do bhavana at the beginning. I'm not telling that you have to do bhavana, but in the beginning, your foremost focus should be to understand the Four Noble Truths. You have to do bhavana, you have to do sila, you have to do dana, but your main focus has to be understanding the Four Noble Truths. And if you understand the Four Noble Truth in the basic level, then it is like, as I said, you get the eyesight. Then you can see the reality, and further beyond that point, you are not just believing, you are experiencing. It has to. It's the knowledge of the Four Noble Truths. It's the really truth. It's not just something we speculate. It's not just something we believe. Suppose uh, now every one of us know that we are doing the inhaling and exhaling process, and it doesn't have anything to believe because it actually happens. It doesn't have anything to believe. That's why uh, Buddha focus on the anapanasati bhavana, inhaling and exhaling meditation. Similarly, the Four Noble Truths is also, there's nothing to believe. If you understand that, then you will begin to see this is the truth. And when you understand that truth, then you have to achieve that truth. You have to manage your life and achieve the truth. So that is my final conclusion of this sutta. So with that, let's put an end to our discussion, and uh, I would like to share the merits, especially the empty cloud, uh, the background staff, especially Bhante Sudasu and uh, Ayasoma and other monks and devotees who dedicated towards this noble effect. I will share the merits to them, as well as I would like to share the merits to my teachers, especially Venerable Man Kadaval Sudastana Thero, as well as Man Kadaval Nandaratana Thero, as well as my teacher Venerable Kotmale Kumara Kassapa Thero, may share these merits, as well as all the gods and devas may share these merits, as well as the departed relatives of us gets and share and partake these merits, and also the contributors, all the contributors, as well as all the attendees, all of you may share these merits. And finally, with these merits, as well as the infinite blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, may you get the very comfortable well-being life. With this, your present existence will be fruitful, and your future existence would be fruitful with these merits and with this blessing. And finally, all of you may get the chance to attain the final liberation of Nibbana with this merit. And with that purpose in my mind, I just bless you all with the infinite of triple gems qualities. අභිවාදන සීලිස්ස නිච්ඡං වද්ධා පචායිනෝ චත්තාරෝ ධම්මා වඩ්ඩಂತಿ ආයුවන්නෝ සුඛං බලං ආයුආරෝග්‍ය සම්පatti සග්ග සම්පatti මේවච අතෝ නිබ්බාන සම්පatti ඉමිනාතේ සමිජ්ජතු. තෙරුවන් සරණයි everyone.